what I do, what it is. I've got garlic. I'm just chefing up a little burger thing, and burgering and philosophizing. Truly a delight to be alive in such an age where you can do this. Because, you know, the whole like filming thing that I'm doing, I'm kind of just filming things that I'm doing already. Like, you know, I'm already thinking all the time. I'm already singing and dancing and prancing. I'm already cooking. I'm already going for walks and more stuff to come. Like I'm quite like my mushrooms and all that. Like I'll get into foraging at one point and I'll film that, and it's just a way to add an element of creativity to what you're already doing, which is I think the beauty in media. Because I've decided that my dream is that I'm going to create a media backing company in which your dream is my dream. I get a buzz. I feel so good when to start with, I'm really almost borderline addicted to changing. Like if I've got anxiety, if I get sad, if I find out something about myself, I can't help but like try change it and try try grow around it and just become a better version of me. I've always been a bit like that. Like if I don't like something about myself, I won't just be okay with that. I'm not content with not being who I want to be. And I think that's it. Not settling for anything less than the best version of yourself. By the way, I'm just peeling at this garlic. Just ignore my technique. I'm not a chef. In fact, well, if you do have a technique, do tell me. Because a part of being able to change and all that is taking what other people are saying on board, because obviously they're the people that deal with you. I said deal with you, like sounds like, you know, like you're super difficult, and maybe you are, you know, maybe you are difficult, and I'm sure if you are, you do know a little bit, and that's a lot of the conflict is actually, it is because you know you can be like a bit better, and you aren't. That's kind of why like grumpy people and angry people, if they don't change, they only get really much more angry or much more resentful. It like energy builds. Like also I noticed the last video that I say like way too many times, but now that I've mentioned that, I've probably ruined this video. But I've noticed like resentment builds. Like people that are angry and full of negative emotions, it just builds and builds because they don't change, they don't offload. Sometimes you'll, like for me, for example, if something small happens, let's say at like 12 o'clock, and I just kind of forget about it, you know, something else comes up and I'm just on that motion now, I might find myself a couple hours later really irritated. And I'd be like, why am I so irritated right now? Like, where did this come from? Like, I was in a good mood a second ago, and then I'll go, because I didn't offload. I don't know if offload's the better word. I think the word is transmute, which means to, it's not the proper definition, but in my head is to like change something into something else. So if I'm feeling angry, I can all of a sudden think a really funny thought, transmute all that anger into humor, which is the way you want to go. So we're also going to switch stations here. Whoa, now that's an angle. That's sick. Chop my garlics in half. Where were we? The angle change really was stupendous move for me. So garlic and onion. I eat raw onion, okay, motherfuckers? What are you gonna do about it? It's so good. So we're in the chefing area now, but I'm not going to go chef because it might be loud, but I do want to say, so you're going to want to transmute your feelings, negative emotions into something else. Or else it will linger and it builds. Like you might be still angry about something that happened 10 years ago. 10 years. Because there's a line you cross, right? Someone can wrong you, but if any amount of time really passes and you're still feeling a certain type of way about that, that's you. I'm sorry, it's you. No matter how horrible things are, like obviously there's leeway. I'm not saying that it's you're terrible for, having emotions linger about in you. No, because you've never been taught. Like I said in the previous video, it's a case of you just don't know how to not keep these things, allow these things to linger. So it's not your fault. I wouldn't ever guilt you about it or beat yourself up about it. Because you're here now. You're doing stuff. You're working on it. You've taken a step to change, and that's really, really quite something. Because a lot of people don't. I work in a shop where I'm around a lot of old people that are. They're just defeated. They don't know that they can change, so they don't. And it's quite sad because when you don't change, it's like not fixing your car or whatever. After a while, it's just full of gunk. It's breaking down, doesn't work properly. It's screaming at you. But like a car, you can put new parts in. You can swap things out and go faster and handle life better and take the bumps with more suspension. Oh, this car analogy is change is such a thing. It's like that internal conflict that you have, right? Let's say that it is like anxiety. You're beating yourself up because you can be better. We've established that, right? But and this is kind of hard to explain, right? But let's say it is anxiety. You're battling between ideal version of yourself and the current version of yourself. The current version of yourself isn't who you'd want to be. So then you have anxiety around that because when you go to a public setting, you're aware that you're not portraying who you want to be. And that creates anxiety. It's like before you get there, you're like, you're having thoughts about, I'm not going to be funny, I'm not going to look smart, I'm not going to look pretty or handsome, or all these silly thoughts come in that actually then turn into truth. And that's kind of the scary part, right? Is that these thoughts, they don't just stay in your head, they become your world. Like an angry person lives in an angry world. It's just as simple as that. And it could be the same things. Like I work, in my job, I work the same job as a lot of other people, and other people hate it. Every day they resent coming in, whereas I come in, I'm pretty buzzing most days. Like 90% of the days I'm decently looking forward to being there. I enjoy myself, I have a good laugh, it's exercise, yada yada. It's a case of perspective. It's a case that I've changed. Like when I first got there, my paradigm was, work is shit and I'm gonna have to work the rest of my life and yada yada. And it just made me hateful, it made me resentful. So I had to change. And if I didn't change, then I'd still have all those emotions. I'd still be a fucking, I'd still be just fucking rage, stabbing people and shit. Hopefully not. But, me making a fucking appearance. I'm really hunched over right now. This is just fourth ball breaking shit. So you might be asking, how do I change? How do you do it? Well, that person you're comparing yourself to in your head, creating that conflict, you need to develop a relationship to them, start to build on that relationship, because currently you've probably just built deep trenches in your current version of yourself, which you're unhappy with. So it's really a deep-rooted, unhappy version of yourself. So you're going to need to dig yourself out of those holes. Again, how do you do that? Well, let's say it's 90% current unhappy version of yourself. There is still that 10% of ideal self that you're comparing to. Now, if you start to question the current self, the one you're unhappy with, if you question it, why am I doing that? Why do I have anxiety? Why do I react like that? Where did it come from? How is it serving me? Where will that lead me? Blah, blah, blah. Just any sort of question that sort of starts to unreveal answers or truths, starts to tip that percentage balance. You start to be more 20% ideal self, 30%, 40%. And then when you get to 50-50, it'll split. It'll jump over. Now you're more ideal self than you are your previous negative self. Like I said in a previous video, doubt now has to waddle up to faith instead of faith waddling up to doubt. You have changed the tides. It's really quite amazing because you've changed in a way that it's permanent. It's solid. Like you've changed, and you are now no longer that person. You just simply aren't them anymore. This is a good trick for anyone with bad habits or whatever. If you just say, like I used to vape, and then I had a mindset change where it's like, I'm no longer a vapor. That sounds so goofy, but I'm not the person that vapes. But occasionally, every couple of months, if my friends got a vape, I'll have a rogue of it. But then I go straight back to being I don't vape. Because I don't vape. I occasionally have a vape, but I don't vape. So it's very powerful. That's a good tip for you. And I actually might leave it there because I want to cook these burgers and I'm going to go see a friend soon, and have talks like this. Because we are philosophers. Scottish Mystic, here and out. Fucking see ya, boy. Whoa, this looks good. I like this angle. Ooh. Oh, that's crisp. It's crisp.